You're welcome back. It is still the AM Weekend Show, and right now we're going to be reviewing our papers. We'll be going through all that is happening on the front pages of our national dailies, beginning with Saturday Vanguard. The boldest headline we have here says, "We fear the worst in 2027, says Nigerians, urge INEC to avert danger by electronically transmitting results from polling units." Also on this paper, PDP crisis, combatants strategize for Monday's make or mar neck. Wike Makinde camps divided. Wike Makinde camps divided on zoning. You find that on page 6. Another headline here says 2027 ADC a grand deception. This is credited to Dati Ahmed. And finally on this paper, we have another headline that says, that's pretty much what we can take on this paper, please.
And straight to First Daily, boldest headline says, federal government unveils bold plans to feed 20 million school children by 2026. PCN seals 486 medicine premises in Niger over licensing safety violations. We also have on this paper, coalition will collapse by September, ADC rep Abejide speaks. Don't let election rigor replace Yakubu, Baba Ahmed warns Tinubu. Also have on this paper, INEC records 500,000 online voter pre-registration in 5 days. And finally on this paper, NAFDAC warns Nigerians over circulating fake cowbell milk.
Moving on to Voice of Liberty. The boldest headline we have here says 2027, Jonathan in spotlight as PDP Southern leaders split over zoning. Another headline says FG pledges to track down killers of worshippers in Katsina. Escalating insecurity. Amnesty International blasts FG over failure to protect Nigerians. We have another one here that says ADC deceiving Nigerians. Credited to Dati Baba Ahmed. That's what we can take from Voice of Liberty.
And straight to the metrics, 2027 ADC coalition under fire. Right, that says they are deceiving Nigerians, says Baba Ahmed. Coalition will collapse completely by September, party chieftain. NAFDAC warns Nigerians against fake cowbell milk in circulation. And NPC Limited revenue slumps by 165 billion naira in July as profit takes massive dent. EFCC invites CBEX crypto scam victims to assist investigations. As on this paper, Peter Rufai laid to rest amid tears, tributes, and criticism. And finally, on this paper, we have Tinubu, local manufacturing of military hardware crucial in enhancing Nigeria's security. And right, that says there is renewed confidence in our economy.
Moving on to the Guardian Weekend. Boldest headline here says the house cocoa farmers built 6 decades after. You find that on page 8 and 9. CDS didn't call on citizens to bear arms. Defense headquarters clarifies. Another headline here says NEL Fund reviews upkeep payment, switches to per session disbursement. And finally on this paper, TCAD 9 says, when will Mr. President nominate Nigerian ambassadors? That's what we have on The Guardian.
And moving on to Blueprint Weekend, we have subsidy removal windfalls. Governors squandering once-in-a-generation opportunity, Nigerians lament. We have riders who say gains haven't translated into better roads, functioning clinics, others in states. Many governors lavish public funds on fleets of luxury SUVs, needless travels. This is by Economist. Funds should be invested in education, healthcare, job creation. This is by NGO, and you can find more of that on page 8 and 9. Also, the last rider says state assemblies must wake up to their responsibilities. This is credited to Yakubu. We also have on this paper, federal government, states, local governments share 2 trillion naira in July 2025. This is credited to FAC. Poor governance, poverty fueling extremism in Northwest, others. This is credited to experts. And lastly, on this paper, we have echoes and reminiscences of Oshun or Shobo Fiesta. That's the much we can take on this paper.
Moving on to Leadership Weekend, the boldest headline says, removing electricity subsidy will worsen poverty among Nigerians, Labour tells FG. Tinubu should lessen burdens on Nigerians, not aggravate it. This is credited to oppositions. When deals turn sour, the sad story of Nigerian footballers. You find this on page 31. Dying in installments, Nigerians suffer silent deaths from lead battery poisoning. Bandits now tell us when to sleep and farm, says Katsina community leaders. And finally, strike threats. Stop playing with students. Students leaves. NANS cautions ASU and FG.
And moving on to Saturday Punch, we have the boldest headline, UTME, how we bridge CBT Central servers for candidates. This is accredited to hackers. And the writers say compromised operators behind exam fraud, says mercenaries. And another writer says preparators association reject generalization. Concerns mount over 25% paternity fraud report. Fathers share mixed feelings on DNA test. Monarchs under spell say traditionalist. I'm scared to return to my duty post. Anambra Copper stripped naked by vigilante, says presidency back EFCC on Atiku's son-in-law hunt. And lastly on this paper, I took inspiration from sex workers to kill a monkey rule. This is credited to Sunshine Roseman.
Moving on to the Saturday Times, boldest headline here says NNPCL NLNG seal gas deals with 6 suppliers for Bonny plant. Another headline here says indigenous arms production key to Nigeria's security, says Tinubu. Support government that brings development, Wike tells FCT residents. And finally, FG states LG's share 2 trillion naira July revenue as oil receipts boosts FAC.
And to Weekend Trust, we have by-elections heighten fears for 2027, and we have the map that explains everything, rice mill collapsing. Also on this paper, we have why we declared Atiku's son-in-law wanted, EFCC. You can find more of that on page 30. 4 Benue lawmakers suspended over plot to impeach Speaker. This is on page 34. And lastly on this paper, we have from Arewa to Lagos, a journey of northern enterprise, and this is on page 15.
Moving on to the final paper here, Daily Monitor. The boldest headline says, Obi Flays FG for approving 142 billion naira for 6 bus terminals. Says it affirms poor leadership with federal universities getting less than 100 billion naira. Final whistle, Peter Rufai laid to rest amid criticism of government neglect. Nigerian politicians are spiritual husbands. Jaruma admits dating former vice president. Wow. Shaibu drags Edo government, Obaseki, to court, demands 5.8 billion naira, withheld entitlement. And finally, just take this one that says NFC, others, sign performance bond at 2025 sectorial retreat by FMA, CT, and CE. That's a lot.
A lot. Quite
a whole lot to take in from
different
to
stories.
So many
we don't even
different
have
stories
anyone that we
that
can
we
find
have
across
caught,
all
exactly.
of them.
But one caught my attention. We have like 3 minutes. Let's just talk about. I guess we should look at First Daily. The boldest headline that says FG unveils bold plan to feed 20 million school children by 2026.
Because I read that.
Meanwhile, the last paper here, Obi is playing FG for approving 142 billion naira for 6 bus terminals, and he says it affirms poor leadership with federal universities getting less than 100 million naira. It just feels like misplaced priorities.
A lot.
I mean, these things are important, but it feels like misplaced priorities.
It doesn't feel, it is misplaced priorities. And this is one of the problems we have in Nigeria. I mean, you're feeding 20 million children. Why don't you create job for their parents and they will feed their children without your help? What's the feeding? What's the feeding? The lunch? Which is not, have you seen lunch in school, public schools, when they started this giving children food, lunch? in school. Have you seen the lunch? It's not even of any good quality. It's not even balanced. So this is another way of, I don't want to say embezzlement, but it looks like it to a large extent. It's just a complete misplace of priorities. And you're telling me you want to use over 162 words to build bus terminals.
Meanwhile, our federal universities are threatening strike. And I mean, a whole lot is going on. I like the way these things are so interconnected. This one is connected to this one. This one is connected. But really now, talking about feeding children, I remember the last time this conversation came up and we heard that the reason was to encourage children to go to school. The reason was to get children out of the streets. And when we were talking about this, my concern was this. You cannot tell me that feeding is the major reason children are not in school. Why you want them to go? Or why you want them to go to school? No, it's fine. If that is a motivation. My own is that the reason, because if we're dealing with why you want them to go to school, if you're dealing with getting them to school, you should be looking for why they are not in school in the first place. And feeding is not the reason why they are not in school. It's bigger than that. It's a part of it. It's bigger than that.
What's even the feeding? Let's even talk about the feeding. Let's talk about the feeding. What's the feeding? Have you seen this food?
I mean,
and this is what you say you want to feed 20 million children. You want to take them out. Imagine you want them to go to school, and one of the reasons you want them to go to school is because you want to feed them, or you want to take them away from the streets because you want to feed them. How do
they have school fees first?
School
are they going to good schools?
Okay, let's say they go
to
public schools. But the small necessary things, school uniforms, good standards, school bags, they cannot afford it. We have this. Why don't you make it conducive for their parents? Why don't you provide jobs, make it conducive for the parents to handle and take care of their children? They wouldn't even want you to come and feed them.
I mean, even if we say that, okay, uniforms are available, this is available, that is available, and all that is just to get them to go to school and encourage them to keep coming. They seem to be forgetting the fact that these parents, if the parents are beggars on the street, the parents will still take those children out of school to go and beg with them.
Or let's say after school.
If the parents do not have a job and have to hawk, it is still the same children they will cause to hawk and do all these things. So if their lives are not in order. But let's just forget this.
In order, you will not make out, they will not be efficient enough to, everything you're doing will not be effective because these people are coming from a place that needs help. So let's treat the grassroots problem, the root cause of everything first. When we talk about feeding them is a secondary problem. It's not even the main thing. There are so many things that we need to tackle, fix first of all. In fact, the country needs a total overhaul. We need to fix a lot of things, First of all, before we talk about feeding them, please use that money and provide better opportunities for their parents. And I promise you, feeding them wouldn't be a problem because they'll be coming with good lunch to school. Honestly speaking.
I on a final note, I'll just say I think a broader vision should be to get beggars, to get people out of the streets. And we're talking about adults now. If you can get those adults out of the streets, their children will not be outside. So instead of focusing on the children, as though if you give the children food, they will rebel against their parents and go to school and say, government gave me food.
If you give the person lunch, would they want dinner? Would they want breakfast?
They still don't have the power to go and meet their parents and tell their parents, I'm going to school whether or not you like it. So
unless the parents will come to school as well to collect lunch now.
That's another angle too.
That's just lunch. Aside lunch, what else? There are other things that basic necessities they all require. And if you cannot provide that for them and you cannot give them a better environment to help themselves, it's still like you're pouring water on a stone. At the end of the day, the problem is still there. You're just running around, leaving the main problem, which is one thing we've been suffering in this country, focusing on other things that are not the main priorities. It's just annoying.
I mean, the government needs to take note of these things and just ensure that a lot of times when when the opposition talk, when Peter Obi drops a comment or something, people carry it and a lot of people say he's talking too much or they are making a lot. But that's what oppositions are for, to really check these things. And we hope that it gets to the ears of the right people and something is done about some of these things, because we can't keep complaining that we don't have money and yet we're just misusing money.
Misusing the one we have.
Anyways, that is all we can take on Newspaper Review. Up next on the AM Weekend Show is our trip to the gym. Take your positions and join us to work out.